Hello again, Ian still here with Mastermind Games, back with the third member of the Crossroads 7, Envy. Golden Skin 091 or 090, excuse me, 09092. Envy was the piano player for the group, and when the bar at Crossroads burned down, all he was able to salvage from his original piano was a single key. But he built this sort of walking tank to replace it, and it is equally part pipe organ, part weapon of mass destruction. We'll see what happens in 3rd edition, but the Gatling guns are one of the deadliest weapons in the game, at least from my opinion. He is nominally an Arcanist. So again, all the Crossroads 7 there's basically one for each faction. And Wrath can get the band back together. Alright, let's see here. Antique Gold 09050. Nuts. So I decided to work on the Crossroads 7 in order of, sort of in order of base size, starting with Wrath, the leader, and Hidden Gluttony, the only other 40mm based model. Envy's the largest. This goal's going to go on. It's pretty much decoration. Well, and like so many of these box sets, these story encounter sets, the Crossroads 7 had a Through the Breach adventure. Now, I don't play Through the Breach, but there is some nice fiction in these, and in this case, it was Envy stealing the guitar belonging to the mercenary, or the outcast Sue, who himself is based off Johnny Cash, and then agreeing to trade it for the guitar belonging to Pride, another member of the Crossroads 7. And it's kind of funny how similar to Envy, or how similar Envy and Greed are in their motivations, but that gets kind of a bit convoluted. Greed is wanting never satisfied with anything, always wanting more. Envy wanting what belongs to someone else. Kind of related there, at least to a certain extent. I may have to do a second coat with this gold, but if I do, I'll do that off camera. It's reinforcing will be done in another color, either wood or silver. I haven't decided just yet. I will by the time I touch one of those two. And gonna get this up here. That phone call is probably my mother. And there we go. Let that dry. Come back in a minute. Right. 09062 leather white. This is going on his shirt. And the sheet music. There's a little too much water in here. I'll have to blot that out a little bit and try again. This is another model where a partial assembly may have been called for. And again, that's something I prefer not to do if I can avoid it. And they clearly based Envy off the stereotypical Wild West piano player. There's a little bit on the inside of his arm here I wound up missing. Let's just take care of that with a little golden skin while I'm at it. Got a bit too much water in the brush this time. Okay. There's the shirt now, the same color on the sheet music. It's touching enough for the other colors. I'm going to have to wait a bit. Alright. 09089 Cloudy Gray. And now I'm going to have to hope these clips are in the right order, because for some reason my program didn't actually save the first one I put in. It's there, but oh boy. The joys of technical difficulties, right? So this is going on his suit. Just a flat, gray, nondescript suit. With matching vest. A dot of white right there. And matching bowler hat. Okay. Alright. Gonna go ahead and wait before I do the next color. Got a lot of touching right now, so back in a minute. Okay, this is the big one, 09206 Tarnished Steel. Where to start? Start in the cockpit area, I suppose. Too much water there. And then only part of this because the controls are going to be done in bronze. What's kind of funny here is if it's supposed to be a walking organ, you would expect more in the way of keys, but being real careful around the gold. Keeping my brush wet and refreshing both the water in the brush and the paint as necessary. You might see paint flecks, and this is because Envy and the rest of the Crossroads 7 have been on my painting table for over a year waiting their turn. A local game store just stopped carrying Malifaux about a year ago, more or less about a year ago, so last year they did a really good sale on what they had in stock, so I tend to do most of my purchases based on sales like that. Which is great if you don't particularly care what order you get the things you want in. Trying not to hit the gold I did earlier. Okay, now I can loosen up a bit. Some of the details on these boilers I'll pick out in bronze later. But right now I'm just going to go ahead and get the whole thing in steel. I thought about doing some of this reinforcement in a wood color. It changed my mind. And that'll happen sometimes as you're working. Something that seems like a good idea when you start, you'll change your mind on as you actually dive in and begin painting. Hang on a second. Okay. Hang on. Okay. That weird glitch that suddenly, where my computer suddenly starts dropping hundreds of frames over the course of a few seconds, start happening again. I still haven't figured out what's causing it or how to fix it, but at least I've learned that when my hard drive starts making a lot of noise, starts rapidly accessing things, that's the clue it's happening. But still, I'd rather prevent that if I can figure out what's causing it. Okay, just about done. Got the legs now. I'll redo part of these forelimbs and have the gold be just a decorative exterior coating. Gold is a really, in a real world, gold is a really poor choice for making anything that's supposed to be sturdy out of, just because it is a very soft and malleable model, or not model, material. More useful for decoration and certain specific tasks than anything else. I know the gold is used on space suits. Certain areas, I'm not quite sure the scientific reasons behind it, but I know there was a specific reason for that. Just about done, just getting the Gatling guns. Yeah, this is definitely one piano man you don't want to heckle or boo. And this trim I'm not worried about because it'll be picked out in bronze later. Almost finished. I've got exactly enough paint out to get the job done here. There we go. Let that dry, and then I need to get the wood and a bit of bronze trim, and I can move on to highlighting and detailing. Or shading, highlighting, and detailing. Alright, next up, Old Bronze 09197. And I'm going to do Envy's mustache and glasses as a detail, I think, so that's just going to be undone for now. Bronze I want on some of as a secondary color on some of these fittings. And the biggest is going to be the control panel here. This sort of reinforced trim on the, we'll call the bow. It is a boat-shaped construct after all. Because I think the front is the bow. I'm not too up to date on nautical terms. Just want to make sure I've got what I want on the front and sides before I move on. Okay. I'm going to do part of these boilers here. course, think these reinforcing bands. Bit much water in the brush. There we go, that's better. Okay. I think I'm satisfied with that. Little Shield Brown 09161. I'll switch to a larger brush too for this. Let's see if that'll work. Get out of there. Gotta be careful where the feet of the model connect to the base. In this case, they're much easier to avoid since they are just little cylinders. And this is again custom sculpted base inserts I've done myself. Though looking at this in retrospect, I maybe should have thought about putting a trap door underneath and with the wood finish. But next time maybe. Okay. Nice base coats. Let that dry and I can start the shade. Alright, I can start shading now. Stormy Gray 09088. About half paint, half water. Thinning this out into a wash. Carefully going along his pants. Make the edge here, that's easy to fix. So I have the paper towel on hand. Best. Being careful not to hit the white. Right. You know what, that can wait a minute. This hat. And now, aged pewter 09196. And if that phone call hung up after 3 rings, then there's every likelihood it was another scam call. And this is unfortunately a situation where I only get one take, not without spending months stripping paint off carefully and methodically. I have yet to find a rapid technique to strip the paint off a model without destroying it in the process. But to strip paint off a model, I soak it in simple green, and it usually requires several takes to get the paint stripped off completely. Well, that particular compound won't harm plastic. It will dissolve green stuff or sculpting putty. And it takes more work to strip the paint off the model than it does to paint a model in the first place. So I'll do that on older models I'm not too enthused about. Starting from scratch on anything. Okay, and one more little bit of this. That's on the control panel. Trying not to hit Envy's flesh or clothing. Okay. I think I can go ahead and do the gold as well. So that one's going to be 09049 Ancient Bronze. Okay. I was hearing the noises my computer usually makes when it starts dropping hundreds of frames, so it didn't do that this time, but it's something I need to pay attention to, at least until I figure out what's causing it and how I can fix it. Just let the paint flow down and go where it wants to go. I'm not concerned about the gold getting onto the steel because the steel is darker and will conceal any gold spillover when I hit that step. There we go. Once that's dry, I can move on. Okay, got a weird glitch there. We'll see if this segment works out. Linen white 09061. The joys of technical difficulties, right? It's just going on his shirt. Okay. And his sheet music. And with that done, I'm going to have to wait a bit before I move on. Not getting there. Alright. Blackened steel 09205. Well, it looks like some of that white got into the bronze. I'll have to... No, I can use this to try to balance out a bit there. That should be okay. Things like that'll happen. Don't worry about it. Because they are fixed. They can be fixed. Okay. Just kind of doing the interior of it first. Tracing along all these, well, all this bracing really for the pipes to the organ. When you think about it, if Envy started out as a piano man, it seems kind of odd he'd switched instruments. While pipe organs are similar in construction, I think the technique used to play them is actually different. But, it would be funny, though, to see a gangly little man like Envy hauling around a full-size piano, though. Okay. Just conk my camera. Go ahead and do the bottom here. Legs are going to be last. I think I had a little more for the Gatling guns. There's every chance this will get onto the base, and that's okay. I'll be able to work with that and get it touched up the way I need to. Thought this would take a little longer, but it's good. Go ahead and get this little toe here. Do this light that's not touching the base last. I will need some point to grip it while I finish up. I think I just slaughtered the English language with that sentence. Well, I'm just going to chalk up my difficulty speaking any language to just the bad influence of my coworkers who don't really speak language themselves. Okay. I'm talking people who consider English their primary language and still don't speak it. How scary is that? Alright. That's just going to leave the flesh tone and the base. So just about done with shading. Alright, Golden Shadow 09091. His head, just let that flow down his face. I'm going to do the, like I said, I'll do the glasses and mustache as a detail when I'm done. I gotta say about the positioning of his hands, I've never seen anybody play a pipe organ with such gusto, but on that note, that'd also be awesome to see. Let's see, silk some of that up a bit. It's just gonna go. It's just gonna be a little funny, I think. Let's try to touch that up a little more. And then Woodstain Brown 09160. Get my brush wet during this last bit of shading. Okay. That's dry, I can highlight in detail. Okay, time to highlight. Golden highlight 09093. Which is plugged up. So, paper clip to one. Well, without dried paint off that might. Nope. Still need to clear the nozzle. Don't need much of this. And then taking a ragged feathered brush, no water, rubbing the excess off on the paper towel. It looks like there's nothing left. And lightly dust the area to be affected. This will catch on the raised areas. Gonna get a little extra on the back of his head where that gray hit. And then Ghost White 09063. Gonna be switching brushes pretty freely here because I can. But you want the brush completely dry between your colors here. My focus is also going to be on the most readily visible areas. So I won't bother highlighting his vest. And Misty Gray 09090. portion of the pants that are most readily visible, and then the vest and the hat. True Silver is next, 09207. I hope that's enough. Now with this, I'm first going to take a fine detail brush here and just get his glasses. So I'm not using any water on this either, just carefully getting the lenses and frames as best I can. Go. Now going for an actual brush to highlight with. Again, focusing on the most readily visible surfaces here. Maybe should have done the gold first. It'll be alright though. I'm gonna need more paint. Something else I'm going to go ahead and do is take that detail brush again. Just go over this here where the white got a little out of control earlier. And just a quick touch up there. Let's see, where is it? New Gold 09051. Highlighting does go pretty quick. Not that one, that one will work. Okay, just a couple left now. Tarnished Brass 09198. Just a careful light dusting along the trim here. Because I think that would be the proper word for this. I'm getting down in here and trying to highlight the controls at least a little bit. Banding in the doors, on the boilers. Okay. And Driftwood Brown 09162, which unfortunately I'm almost out of. To restock it, I'm probably going to have to go online. I think I might have been lied to when I was told by one store owner that Reaper was reformulating because all their paints are still available on their website. So I'm wondering if it's just the store that's not carrying them. If that's the case, that's fine, but, you know, name one person that likes being lied to. Okay. Not too much on here, just enough to, that is way too much paint right there. So I can thin that out a bit. Just enough to lighten up the floorboard here and try to hit the wood grain. Now to finish up with Pure Black 09037. I just realized this is the first model in a while I haven't used white on. Grabbing that tiny needle-pointed detail brush again. Just carefully get the mustache. I have to go out of camera for a minute to do this. Okay, got it. And then barrels on the guns. Just dabbing on there. Same thing with the pipes on the organ. This is just meticulous work. Requires a fair amount of concentration. And the pipes on the back. Now here's where it gets really tricky. Simulating text by a random series of notes and dashes here. Okay. Don't necessarily need to do that detail, but I want to do that detail. Now taking a flathead, most of the brushes I use are round, and just going around the edge of the base, trying not to hit any of the feet that overextend and trying to not to hit the sculpted basing. And I'm painting what this covers up. This gives it a nice edge to it. It covers up any errant paint. Okay. Well, that was meticulous. Okay, there we go. Clean out my brush. And there is Envy. I'm going to continue on with the Crossroads 7. And until next time, I am Ian Stokey with Mastermind Games, signing out.